What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the MME YouTube channel, where we're here to guide, facilitate, and educate you on your holistic wellness journey. My name is Tyler Egan, and I will be your wellness mentor and educator for today's video. Now, in today's video, we're going to be piggybacking off a video that we released a few weeks back discussing the fear of judgment. Now, in that video, we discuss what the fear of judgment is, where it stems from, and how you can begin to release that fear of judgment. Now, if you haven't watched that video yet, I want to invite you to head over there. There'll be a link down below or up in the cards or whatever. Watch that and then circle back to this one. But regardless if you've done that or if you're going to do it, if you're in a space in your life where you know you've been releasing the fear of judgment, one, maybe you feel it, and two, your actions reflect it, meaning you're taking decisive, courageous action even when faced with that fear of judgment. Or even if that person thinks that thing about you, you're still going to do that thing that you know is in alignment with your heart and soul. Regardless of what your mom and dad think, regardless of what the people at the gym think, regardless of what your coworkers think, you're still taking that action. You're still saying that thing. You're still doing what you need to do because it is in alignment with your highest self, with who you are in your heart and in your soul. If that sounds like you, if that resonates with you right now, then this video is going to help you. Because as we continue to shed this fear of judgment, judgment is going to be replaced with a higher internal skill of discernment. Now, in the beginning, it may be a little confusing on if your discernment is actually discernment or if it's just judgment. The mind has to follow the heart. So you're taking these actions from a place in your heart that you know is the truth, but your mind catches up a little bit later. And now comes the point where you recognize that the judgment is shifting into discernment. Now, discernment comes from you sitting in the fire with those deeper, darker emotional wounds, traumatic wounds from your childhood, from earlier in your life, and forging the raw energy into an internal skill set, no longer being crippled by those wounds, but now through the forging of the energy in that fire, those wounds become an internal guidance system, your intuition, through which you can discern what steps to take, what people to listen to, what places to go, and what to do next in your life. Now, to help you understand the differences between the two, I kind of want to discuss them real fast. Discernment is going to be more responsive in nature, right? Whereas judgment is going to be more reactive. You're going to be reacting from an emotional wound, a traumatic wound that never fully healed. It's going to sound like that inner critic in your mind, right? Whereas discernment, again, more responsive, it's going to be more of the voice of your higher self. It's going to be soothing, loving, compassionate voice, one that isn't forceful, but guiding. Whereas judgment is going to be forceful. It's going to be belittling. It's going to be a bully trying to shame you into taking action, right? Now, discernment is going to come from an internal knowing, whereas judgment is going to come from external understanding. So what do I mean by this? Well, just to give you an example, I'll ask you this. Do you need scientific research and studies to prove to you that gravity is real? Or does the fact that you're not floating into outer space yet prove that gravity is real to you? Does it give you that internal knowing, right? It's the same thing there. It's like if you hear two different opinions on what the best diet is, and these two different opinions have evidence. One has three people who lost 45 pounds in 45 days using this crash diet, and the other one has three people who lost 15 pounds over the course of 6 months, but they've cultivated a healthier relationship with their body. They've cultivated a healthier relationship with their food. They listen to their intuition on what to eat and what not to eat, and they have a better understanding of themselves and what things fuel them and nourish them. Now, at the surface, with what I just said there, what sounds like more of a discerning thought versus a judgmental one? Now, at least I'll speak for myself and say that the diet where somebody has found a way of eating that nourishes their body, they have a healthy relationship with their food and their body, is more discerning and more of an internal knowing versus the judgmental external understanding and validating side of things, where you need to see that those 3 people lost 45 pounds in 45 days. It's more instant gratification, right? And so as we continue to release these fears, our judgment will shift into discernment because of us sitting in the fire with those emotional wounds, those deeper, darker emotions, those deeper, darker energies, and forging our intuition, our internal guidance system to discern how to navigate what decisions to make, right? Even in the face of something that we do not want to do, we have that internal knowing. That is discernment, right? If you're on your health and wellness journey to, of course, lose weight and also develop a healthy relationship with food, to heal and nourish your body, then the diet where you take longer to lose weight, but you cultivate that healthy relationship with food might be a little bit better than the crash diet. That's going to leave you probably messing up your hormones and then having to backtrack and fix that, right? So the discernment between the two, one is going to sound super awesome right away. One is going to sound like a little bit more of a long haul, but long-term gratifying. And so as your judgment shifts into discernment, at first it's not going to feel or even sound that way, because they're both coming from an opinion, in a sense. The new discernment you've cultivated through the development of your intuition may still feel and even sound like your judgment from the past. If it's grounded in truth, if it's grounded in your highest self, if it's grounded in self-love and self-compassion, even if your mind and your ego don't want to do it, it's discernment. If it's grounded in external validation, if it's grounded in external understanding, like you need scientific evidence to take the action, you need to understand, right? You need, right? It's more defensive, it's more reactive, and then it's judgment. And again, as we continue to shift and release these fears of judgment, the judgment's still gonna be there. One, it doesn't go away overnight. And two, that voice might still linger for quite some time. But the difference now is we have the discernment to recognize what judgment is and when not to listen to it, or just not to listen to it at all. Because that's the old pattern, because that's keeping us small, because that's pulling us back into the past that got us hurt. No, we have discernment now. We have the internal guidance system forged in the fire of sitting with those darker, deeper emotional wounds and energies, and coming out lighter. I mean, quite literally, you feel lighter, but lighter in vibration, lighter in your being, in your essence on the other side of those things. And now you've cultivated the discernment. Now it's learning to trust it. And knowing the differences is going to help you move through this next stage where you've released the fears of judgment. Now, recognize that your judgment is being forged into discernment and to trust it. And know when to trust it. Discernment is an internal skill that is developed through sitting in the fire with those emotional wounds and alchemizing that energy. You've done that. Now recognize discernment, internal knowing, judgment, external understanding. Discernment is more responsive, right? It's decisive. It's not forceful. Judgment is reactive. It might sound like that inner critic, that inner bully, right? It's sometimes mean. It's shameful. Discernment. It's going to be loving, compassionate from the higher self, the voice of your higher self, where it's not going to be mean in nature. It's going to be loving and guiding, like a nurturing mother guiding her kid. Judgment is going to be an asshole, like shame on you for not doing this thing. All right, y'all, I hope this video helps you recognize the power you've created, forging your fear of judgment into the internal skill set of discernment. If you guys took anything from this video, I'd really appreciate it if you could leave a like, a comment, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Let us know what more you want to see. Leave a comment down below, and we'll see you in the next video. Much love, y'all, and namaste.